What is up? Gavin here from Death Toll Racing. We made a ton of progress on Project 4x4 Safari this week. Really exciting, really motivated to get this thing done now. It looks so cool the way it's at. Front axle's in the car now. A ton of work to get it there. Stay tuned, check it out. Make sure you comment below on how much better I do at introductions than my wife. She claims otherwise. Here's some snapshots of after I got the rear end back in the car last week. It turned out really good. I'm still excited that worked. I've done a lot since then, so I'm looking back on this, and it feels like a century ago that I put that thing back in there, and it was only like I think it was Saturday. But anyway, it looks really good. It's sitting about ride height right now, so that's where it's going to ride. I zoom out here in a second. There's that bottom plate. How I just kind of welded it so it blended in. So once it's painted and stuff, you won't really be able to tell unless you're familiar with them that thing's been shaved. So I got the front axle in it. That was just how I mocked it up for what's next. All right, well, Shane came over today, and he's going to help me take this Dana 44 all the way down. We're going to strip it all the way down to not quite a bare housing. We're going to leave the gear set and stuff in it. We don't need to take that out yet. We will drain the oil and stuff out of it and cut all the brackets off of it and everything. They don't come off as easy as they do on the 14 bolts. They weld them pretty good on these front axles. So anyway, and then we're going to level it out and get it ready for that truss. All right, there's the axle all empty and nice and clean. And here's kind of what I came up with for a truss. I basically built the exact same thing I did for the last one, but I didn't go. I had to go a little wider so that we can clear that pumpkin there. All right, here's the axle all welded up. It didn't turn out quite as nice as the rear one. My welder wasn't liking that material or something. I don't know what was going on with it. It was spitting a lot. So, but it looks pretty good. It'll be all right. So yeah, it's all welded up, and I'm ready to put it in. I got my lower arms tacked on, and we're just gonna test fit it and make sure that it's gonna work right there. All right, here I am cutting the cross member there. I'm just cutting it 4 inches, basically 4 inches out of it. From front to back, and then it's about 3 inches tall or so is what it'll end up being, the notch. So I'm just gonna cut it with a cutoff wheel, and I'll kind of eyeball a straight line. It's really hard to draw straight lines on all these. This thing curves in every direction. So you just really hold the grinder. And kind of use it as a square and just let the wheel cut. I just have some reference points that I just connect the dots to, and then just stop every once in a while and look at it and make sure you're still on track. It's just metal. If you make a wrong cut, you can always weld it back. It's not that big of a deal. But we don't want to do that if we don't have to. So I'm just going to do that, and then any spots I can't get to, I will cut off with I'll connect them with the Sawzall. I'll reach through and connect them with the Sawzall there. And that should be it. And then we'll get going on filling this thing back in and making it so it doesn't look too messed up. And there we got it. Not too bad. It took a little while, but it wasn't too bad. Here it is all cut out. Now we're going to do some cardboard assisted drawing, some CAD drawing, and then we'll just transfer that to some 1/4 inch plate. And cut it out with a plasma cutter and weld the first one in vertically, and then we'll come back and do the horizontal one. Okay, I'm going to show you how I just use these just for our initial line on our card stock. We need to get this line so we can get our card stock up in there, and it'll just make it easier, and then we'll just put the card in there and trace the bottom one. So you can get these things anywhere. You'll see them advertised like crazy online, just like on Facebook and stuff, and they act like they're some new thing, and they're not. They have them everywhere. They're around. They've been around for a long time, but you can get them in any hardware store. I'll have them most likely. So just do that as far up, and then always hold the part under my thumb there
that part, just keep it level with the ground, so that you just always hold that level with the cardstock, and that way you get the right angle. I gotta do this here real quick. I needed my other finger. So, and then you can see we didn't make it all the way, but as you can see, the radius kind of actually stops. There's a radius, and then it just kind of starts going straight up. So I think we can probably just guess on that. So then, to transfer it down, I already did this. I just kind of held this edge to that edge, and that was the edge. And then hold it level with the bottom of the paper. Then I traced my line. Oops, I'm over here. Which, of course, I did it left-handed because I was trying to record it once before. But and then I just eyeballed that line the rest of the way. So now we'll hold this back up there. We'll kind of make a mark on the cross member where that is. We'll reset this thing and then do the next area. Go all the way up again, holding that level. And then there's our next contour. And so we just will add that to our paper.
Here's the little cardboard thing after I taped the two together and finished it, and I'll just trace that onto a piece of the sheet metal there, the 1/4-inch sheet metal, and I'll cut it out, and then we'll get it tacked in.
I'm just going back to this guy again, and then so just hold it on there. You know, like, oops, I guess it helps if I camera it. Hold it on there, and then just pushing it up, and then I just moved the pins out of the way that we don't need, so that's the shape there, and then obviously that gap there from the end, you'll just have to guess, but that's pretty straight there, so that's not that hard. So that'll get you your general shape. So then what I did is I just transferred it down to my cardboard and drew it and cut it out, and then before I went on to the other side, I cut that out, and I actually just held it onto the other side, upside down, and it fit there really well too. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. So then I just, while this piece was still whole, hold it up there, and I just you know, when you do those engravings, like if you're doing a headstone or whatever, I just rubbed on it there, and then just cut along my line that I made, and so then I'll just measure from here to here. And then I can just actually lay that plate, our cardboard template down on the plate, trace it on one side, flip it over to it ends up being 15 3/8, flip it over so that it's 15 3/8, and then trace it again, and where the lines intersect, we know is the center. And so we did that over here, and that's what it looks like. So it ends up being a pretty symmetrical shape. So now I'm going to cut that out. And we'll put that in there, and I think we have that part boxed in. All right, there I have it. I haven't cleaned up these welds yet, but we will once we cut these ears off. I'm going to do that right now. I'm just going to notch them. I'll just hand draw on there a line that avoids the motor mount and stuff, the motor mount bracket. I'll just draw a nice line on there, try to make it a nice shape. And then on this side, we'll just cut it. We'll leave that weld there, the factory weld. We'll leave that there, but we'll cut it so it's close, so it's kind of a smooth line down. And then we'll probably come in here and maybe we'll add a plate or something to kind of box this in, since it is visible from the side, and it looks pretty terrible. So.
All right, that was a lot of work just to gain 3 inches of depth. You know, condolences for the ladies that have probably experienced that same thing. It turned out all right. I think it's terribly ugly. I mean, it looks kind of just stupid, really. I'm not super happy with the way it looks, but I think once the axle's in there with the truss and stuff, it probably won't look as bad. But yeah, right now I'm not very happy with the way it looks. I really want to just go and cut the bottom of it off. You know, so at least it wouldn't be such a big step right there, that bottom there. So anyway, it's okay. I'm just going to drill a hole in it now. We got to drill a hole. So that water can drain out, since we removed that part of it, and then we'll move on.
All right, there it is. It's up in there. I got it all centered up and side to side and end to end, and so we're in pretty good shape there. That worked really slick. That's that clears really well. Okay, so I didn't go into any detail on how I came up with my lengths last time on my arms, or you know, and there is a little bit to that. It's not too terribly complicated. But so basically, I position my axle. I get it so my caster, my pinion angle and stuff is right on the front axle. I mean, you have to get your caster right is the most important thing. I actually really wish on this one that my ends were off, because I would give it a little bit more pinion angle than it has right now. But I can't, because my caster will then go away. So we're gonna run that caster at like 4 degrees. That's like the absolute minimum you can get away with running on caster. Which is the top ball joint back, 4 degrees. You know, if you were to stick a straight edge on it, or if you have a flat top knuckle and stuff, you can actually put a level on it if you have the car level. But anyway, so that's where we're gonna run it. So then I position the axle right where I want it. I got it hanging, so what we're going to do is I need to measure center to center on the ears from the cross member to the axle, and so center to center on those ears, coming off there of the hole of the ears. We're just doing this straight. I know that they're actually at an angle, but in the end the holes are straight. So and what we got was 40. And what did we get? I have to look now. 3/8. 40 and 3/8. That's what we got, center to center. So it'd be nice if that's what we just cut the tube to and make it simple, but that's not the case. We have to do a bunch of math. So we need to deduct on the joint. So you put it together, and I like to leave about 5/8, half inch, 5/8 right there, and that gives you, half inch of adjustment in. Maybe more if you shave that nut down or get a thinner nut. You could get more adjustment in. It doesn't need to be that full thickness, I don't think. I think you could get away with taking some off. But anyway, I'm going to leave a half inch there, and then that gives us adjustment. And then so we need to measure from this edge where the tube runs up to center, which ends up being 3 and 5/8 the way I got it set up. So now we got our 40 and 3/8. And we know on that joint there, we're going to have to take off the 3, but I already forgot, 5/8. So there. So, okay, so now we have to minus that. And now what do we have to do on the other side? Well, the other side, we're doing this weld on. And that's the Ballistic 3-inch Ballistic. And so be it. It actually is 3 inches right there. So, okay, so that half of 3 inches to get to center is 1.5 inches. That's easy, except the tube doesn't weld on like that. It actually copes around it. So now we got to figure out how far. So let's just write this down though, 1.5 inches. We know we have to take off 1.5 inches for that, but we're gonna have to add some on for our coping. So we're gonna have to, and then we'll figure out how far that is. So if you just hold the corner on there, find 2 inches, because we're using 2-inch tubing. And if this were on a table, you could then easily measure from there to your ruler, or to your straight edge, when you got it at 2 inches. So in this situation, it's 3/8. So we know we have to now add on 3/8. So, and that's it. So, and that's how long we have to cut our tube, at least square. And then we'll have to mark out 3/8 and cope this thing back. I'm gonna have to do it with a grinder, because I don't have a 3-inch hole saw. Of all the hole saws I have, I don't have a 3-inch one. So, and it's so minor anyway, because that thing's so big. It's so minor anyway. It doesn't take long to grind it. So anyway, so we'll do that. I like to just convert them to decimal. 375, 625. 0.5, and then 3/8 is 0.375. So there we go. So then we do all the math, and I have it cheated. It's 35 and 5/8. So that, or 5/8. Voila. So that's how we'll cut the tube. And so that's it. Pretty simple. This part's not very hard, other than if you screw up, you'll get this stuck. So I'm not gonna leave this in there. I'm going to take this off. This is actually the rod end that was screwed up. I fixed the threads on it, so it's good now. And then we'll run a tap back through this one after we weld it. And then on these, I just run them dry just the way they are. And remember, you have to. you have to figure out exactly where you need these when you weld it on there, so you don't just weld it on there and forget about them. You gotta put those where they are. So I'm gonna go hold it up there and I'll play with it, and you know, imagine the suspension going up and down and get those in a good spot so it's easy to grease, but they're out of harm's way and they're not gonna get broken off or hidden from you to grease them when the car's just sitting on the ground. And these urethane things, you do need to keep them greased, or that'll just wear them out. They wear out real quick if you don't keep them greased. So that's that. I'm gonna go cut some stuff, and we'll get going on making these arms. All right. So I got the lower control arms are all welded up and assembled. So and I was gonna show you this all thread trick that I use when assembling these things, and of course I left my square, had it in my pocket. So before you take it apart, so obviously right now it's right, but then when you loosen everything, of course it's going to pull around. It's going to pull around when you weld it up. So then you just want to remeasure it again and make sure. See, so it pulled in. So I need to go out a little bit. So just loosen the outer nuts, and then we'll just actually spread these inner ones and flex them out a little bit. We'll just do that a couple times until it stays. Obviously, you don't want to go too far on it. I didn't move it all. There's a little bit of spring in it. So let's do this a couple times. Just keep measuring it until I'm not going far enough. Until we get it just about right. If it for some reason was too far out, obviously you can use the nuts on the outside to bring it in. There we go. So that'll work. So now we can throw that arm in this side. Oops, throw that on the ground. Too much stuff in my hands. There, we got this too. All right, and on this side we put the adjustable one in there. See how nice that fits when you do it that way. That. All right, and now we just move on to the front. All right, now it's just the same deal on this side. That was loose, kind of, so let's see where this one ended up. So this one, it needs to be a little over 3. And it is. It might be a little tight to get in there. I'll go out just a little. Didn't move. Here we go. That'll work. I'll take that apart. Voila, one arm. All right, I got the other arm in and it's done. So both lower arms are in. We're waiting on parts for the upper arms, so that hopefully we'll have those before next week. It's sitting about an inch down from ride height right now, the way I have it set up there. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm getting pretty excited to run it. It looks really neat, from the side. I can't wait till it's sitting on the ground because it's just going to look so cool. But anyway, next week we're going to do steering and the steering on it. We're going to get the axle steering done, and we'll get the car steering done. Hopefully we can get all that done before next week. We're going to try anyway. We got to cut the cross member and stuff out of the car and do all that fun stuff. So I got the wheels ordered from NWSP, Northwest Solar Protection. He also sells wheels and stuff. He has an account. And anyway, I got Method Racing wheels. They're not the wheels I originally wanted, but these are actually a true beadlock wheel. You can see it right there in that picture. And then we're going to run the
Pro Comp MT2s, the Extreme MT2s. 35, 12.5, 17 is what we're getting on those. So that's going to be pretty cool. Those are like a good street off-road tire. I don't know if they're like the best like competition off-road tire, but they're a really good street tire and for off-road weekend warrior type things. Anyway, I've never used one competitively, but they seem to do really well. But we'll see. So anyway, we stay safe out there. Wash your hands and stay away from people. I guess 6 foot rule or whatever they're saying. Anyway, we will see you next week.
Is it going to work? What do you think? You just rub on me for a little bit. Yeah, come here. Hi. You want me to pick you up? Okay. Ah. This is what Bob does. He likes to have me hold him so he can check stuff out. Don't you? Yeah.